You can do hundreds of crunches every day. You can cut calories. You can even lose weight and still keep the most dangerous fat in your body, because the fat you're trying to lose is not the one that's actually harming you. What if I told you the soft fat you can pinch, the jiggly layer under your skin, is not the real problem? The real threat is something you cannot see, something you cannot grab, something hidden deep inside your body. It's called visceral fat. And unlike normal fat, this is not just stored energy. It behaves more like a parasitic tissue. It wraps around your organs, your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. And it doesn't just sit there. It actively interferes with your body. It releases inflammatory chemicals. It disrupts your hormones. It slowly pushes your metabolism in the wrong direction. And here's the most dangerous part. You don't have to look overweight to have it. You can have a flat chest, slim arms, a normal face, and still carry a dangerous amount of this fat inside. This condition has a name: thin outside, fat inside, which means the scale and even the mirror can lie to you. So if you've been focusing only on what you can see, you may have been fighting the wrong enemy all along, because this is not about appearance. It's about what's happening inside your body right now. And once you understand how this fat really works, you'll realize why most people fail to get rid of it, and what actually works instead. To understand why this fat is so dangerous, you first need to understand that not all fat is the same. There are two main types. The first is subcutaneous fat. This is the fat you can see and touch. It sits just under your skin, on your belly, arms, thighs. It's soft, jiggly, and while many people don't like how it looks, it's relatively harmless. Think of it like a storage layer. It just sits there. But the second type is very different. This is visceral fat. It is hidden deep inside your body, wrapped around your internal organs. And unlike subcutaneous fat, it feels hard and firm. If your stomach sticks out and feels tight, almost like you swallowed a ball, that's a warning sign. And here's where it gets more dangerous. You don't have to look overweight to have it. This is known as TOFI. Thin outside, fat inside. You may look healthy on the outside, but internally, your body is under stress. And that's why understanding the difference matters, because the fat you can't see is often the one causing the most damage. Now here's where things become more serious. Because visceral fat is not just sitting inside your body, it is actively working against you. Unlike subcutaneous fat, which simply stores energy, visceral fat behaves more like a hormone-producing gland. It constantly releases chemical signals into your bloodstream, and many of these signals are inflammatory. This creates a state known as chronic low-grade inflammation. Not enough to feel immediately, but enough to slowly damage your system over time. At the same time, visceral fat interferes with how your body handles insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells. But when visceral fat builds up, your cells become less responsive. This is called insulin resistance, which means sugar stays in your bloodstream longer than it should. And over time, this can lead to metabolic problems like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. But it doesn't stop there. Because this fat is located right next to your vital organs, it directly affects them. It puts pressure on your liver. It disrupts your pancreas. It interferes with your digestive system. And over time, this constant interference reduces how efficiently your body functions. So this is not just extra weight. It is a biologically active tissue that changes how your body operates from the inside out. And that's why understanding this mechanism is so important. Because once you realize what this fat is doing, you stop treating it like a cosmetic issue and start seeing it for what it really is, a metabolic threat that needs to be addressed properly. So how do you know if you have visceral fat? There's a very simple way to check, and you can do it right now. Stand up straight, relax your body, and gently press on your stomach. If your belly feels soft, loose, and easy to pinch, that is mostly subcutaneous fat. But if your stomach feels firm, tight, and pushes back, almost like there's pressure from the inside, that's a warning sign, especially if your belly sticks out. Even when the rest of your body looks relatively normal, that firmness is not just fat under the skin. It's fat inside your abdomen, pressing outward. And that's the kind of fat linked to deeper health risks. You may also notice subtle signs. Your waistline slowly increasing, a constant feeling of tightness after meals, low energy despite normal weight, These signals are easy to ignore, but they matter, because visceral fat doesn't always show up clearly in the mirror. It builds quietly, and by the time it becomes obvious, it has already been affecting your body for a long time. So don't just look. Pay attention to how your body feels. So what actually causes visceral fat to build up? At the core of it is something called oxidative stress. Think of your body like an engine. When an engine runs smoothly, everything works efficiently. But when it overheats for too long, it starts to rust. That rust is damage. In your body, oxidative stress works the same way. When your cells are constantly exposed to excess energy, poor diet, or stress, they begin to produce unstable molecules called free radicals. These molecules damage your cells from the inside, and over time, this creates a rusted environment, where your metabolism no longer functions properly. This is the perfect condition for visceral fat to grow, because visceral fat thrives in inflammation. It feeds off cellular stress, and it expands when your body is out of balance. Instead of burning energy efficiently, your body begins storing it in the worst possible place, around your organs. So the problem is not just eating too much. It's that your internal environment has shifted from a state of balance to a state of stress. And once that happens, visceral fat is no longer just a result. It becomes part of the cycle, feeding more inflammation, creating more damage, and making it harder for your body to recover. That's why fixing this isn't just about burning fat. It's about changing the environment that allows it to exist. So if oxidative stress is the root problem, the next question is, how do you reduce it? The answer starts with something very simple: color. Specifically, the natural pigments found in vegetables and fruits. These compounds are called carotenoids. They are what give foods their vibrant colors. The orange in carrots, the red in tomatoes, the deep green in spinach. But these colors are not just visual. They carry powerful biological effects. Carotenoids act like antioxidant shields. They help neutralize free radicals, reducing the rust inside your cells. And when oxidative stress decreases, your internal environment begins to change. But it goes even deeper than that. Some studies have shown that carotenoids can influence gene activity. They can help activate fat-burning pathways and reduce signals that promote fat storage. In simple terms, they don't just protect your cells, they help your body shift toward a more efficient metabolism. This is why adding colorful vegetables is not just about eating healthy. It's about sending the right signals to your body. The key is variety. Not just one vegetable, but many. Carrots, peppers, spinach, squash, leafy greens. The more colors you include, the more support you give your system. So instead of focusing on restriction, start by adding color. Because sometimes, the simplest change can have the most powerful effect on your internal environment. Now let's talk about what you drink. Because there is one simple habit that can directly affect how your body handles fat. Green tea, but not for the reason most people think. Green tea contains a powerful compound called EGCG. And this compound works in two important ways. First, it helps your body unlock stored fat. Think of your fat cells like a locked storage unit. EGCG helps stimulate your nervous system, sending signals that increase fat oxidation. In simple terms, it helps your body access fat and use it as energy. But that's only half the story. EGCG also affects how your body absorbs fat from food. It interacts with digestive enzymes, particularly one called lipase. Lipase is responsible for breaking down fat so your body can absorb it. When EGCG is present, this process is partially reduced, meaning less fat gets absorbed in the first place. So now you have a powerful combination: more fat being used and less fat being stored. But here's where most people make a mistake. They choose the wrong type of green tea: bottled green tea, sweetened versions, processed drinks. These are often loaded with sugar, which cancels out the benefits completely. Instead, you want real green tea, preferably matcha or high-quality loose leaf, because in those forms, you get a much higher concentration of EGCG. So the goal is simple: keep it clean, keep it consistent, because when used correctly, this small habit can support a much bigger shift in how your body manages fat. Now we come to the most important part, because if there is one thing that directly targets visceral fat, it's not extreme dieting, it's not endless crunches, it's how you move your body. But not just any movement. There is a specific intensity level where your body becomes highly effective at burning visceral fat. This is often referred to as about 75% of your maximum effort. And the simplest way to find this level is something called the talk test. If you're exercising and you can sing comfortably, it's too easy. If you're completely out of breath and can't speak at all, it's too intense. The sweet spot is right in between. You should be able to speak in full sentences, but you sound slightly out of breath, like you just walked up a few flights of stairs. That's the zone, and this is where something powerful happens. At this intensity, your body shifts into a state where it preferentially burns visceral fat. In fact, research has shown that exercising at this level just a few times per week can reduce visceral fat significantly. One study found nearly 48% reduction in visceral fat within 2 months, without major changes on the scale, and that's important, because the scale doesn't tell you what's happening inside your body. You may not lose a lot of weight, but your internal fat is decreasing. Your metabolism is improving. Your insulin sensitivity is getting better. This is why this method works. It's not about pushing harder. It's about training smarter. So whether you walk uphill, cycle, swim, or simply move at a steady pace, focus on that feeling. Slightly breathless, still in control, because that's where the real change happens. And when you stay consistent in that zone, your body begins to shift from storing fat to finally burning it where it matters most. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to lose belly fat is eating too little. They cut calories aggressively, skip meals, or follow extreme fasting without understanding their body. At first, it seems to work. The number on the scale goes down, but then something happens. Your body adapts. Your metabolism begins to slow down. Energy drops. Fat burning becomes less efficient. This is called a plateau, because your body thinks it's under threat. It tries to protect itself by holding onto fat instead of burning it, and in many cases, the fat that stays the longest is the most stubborn one, visceral fat. So instead of helping, extreme dieting can actually make things worse. That's why the goal is not to starve your body, but to support it, because when your metabolism is working properly, fat loss becomes a natural result, not a constant struggle. At the end of the day, this is not about one trick. It's about understanding the system. Visceral fat doesn't respond to random effort. It responds to the right signals. Reduce oxidative stress with colorful foods. Support fat metabolism with green tea. And most importantly, move your body at the right intensity. These three work together, not separately. This is how real change happens. Not fast, but effective. Now I'd like to hear from you. Which one will you start with today? Leave a comment below. And if this helped you see your health differently, share it with someone who needs it too.